you know this line. With hardship comes ease. You've heard it at funerals, seen it on posters, texted it to someone in pain. But what if hardship and ease were never two events at all? What if they were closer than that, and you've only ever seen half of it? This is Surah Ash-Sharh. You know it even without the name. Most people stop at its most quoted line, the comfort of it, and skip what comes right before. 3 divine favors Allah reminds the Prophet, peace be upon him, of: his breast expanded, his burden removed, his name raised. Surah Ash-Sharh is generally regarded as a Makkan surah, revealed during the Prophet's early mission in Mecca, a period defined by rejection, mockery, and very little visible progress. We can read these verses against that backdrop without pretending we know the exact day or scene they were revealed into. The precise historical circumstance isn't something we can claim with certainty. What we can say is this: the reassurance in this surah was spoken into a season that, from the outside, looked like defeat. Here is an English rendering of the first 6 verses. Did we not expand for you your breast, and we removed from you your burden which had weighed upon your back, and we raised high for you your renown? So verily, with hardship comes ease. Verily, with hardship comes ease. 3 favors already granted, expanded, removed, raised, before hardship is even named. This comes after Allah reminds the Prophet of favors already given. That's different from saying the Prophet's outward difficulties had already ended. The text never claims that. It's showing you, in a sense, the receipt that something had already arrived, even while the harder circumstances outside were still very much present. That reading is our reflection on how the passage is built, not a line from classical tafsir itself. And that closing phrase, repeated twice, back to back, some classical readers saw more here than rhetorical repetition. In the Arabic, al-usr, the hardship, is repeated with the definite article each time, while yusran, ease, appears indefinitely in each occurrence. On that basis, some classical interpreters understood the passage as pointing to one hardship accompanied by more than one ease. Not every scholar reads it this way. It isn't a unanimous position, but it's a reading with real roots in the language itself. That opens another reflection for us, one step removed from the grammar itself. Perhaps ease doesn't always arrive in the single form we were waiting for. Maybe it comes in pieces, in ways easy to miss the first time, because we were only watching for one. This surah sits directly after Surah Ad-Duha, contains the reassurance that the Prophet had not been abandoned, then reminds him of past care and ends by directing that received mercy outward. Ash-Sharh follows with another set of divine favors already granted. Read side by side, the 2 surahs form a striking thematic sequence. Reassurance opening into gratitude, gratitude opening into more reassurance. Here's where it opens up, carefully. Rumi doesn't say this literally, so let's be precise about what actually comes from him. In the Masnavi, Book 3, Rumi develops an image around this very idea of hardship and ease, the rose and the thorn. In paraphrase, and because we won't put invented words in his mouth, his image suggests the thorn doesn't simply cancel out the rose. Something painful can exist alongside a mercy or an opening that isn't yet visible from where you're standing. Building on that image, here is one reflection, not a claim about what Rumi himself intended line by line. Pain isn't only a wall standing between you and relief. It may be part of the shape relief takes on its way toward you. The verb in that first verse, expand, describes an opening. One way to read this: the widening isn't something that replaces the hardship. It may be the hardship's own ground. One modern metaphor we might place alongside that Sufi language, not as doctrine, but as an image. is the breath, contraction and expansion as two phases of one cycle, not the same motion, but movements that belong to each other. Sufi tradition does speak of qabd and bast, contraction and expansion of the heart as real states. But the single breath picture here is our reflection, not a direct transmission from that vocabulary. Held together, this reframes the most quoted line in the whole surah. With hardship comes ease doesn't have to mean only first this, then that. One way to hold it, the hardship you're inside right now may already sit beside something opening in you. This is one reading, not the only one, not Rumi's literal wording, and not the definitive tafsir of the verse. Look again at verse 2. And we removed from you your burden, which had weighed upon your back. Classical commentators have interpreted this burden in different ways across the tradition, some leaning toward the literal weight of early opposition, others toward something carried more inwardly. We won't claim a specific source division here beyond that general range of readings. A contemplative reading can take the image inward, not necessarily as circumstances changing, but as a change in what the heart is able to carry. That's an application worth sitting with, but it's an application separate from the plain sense of the verse itself, which says the burden was removed, not simply carried differently. If you want to reflect on carrying hardship differently as a practice for your own life, that's a valid and useful reflection, just not the literal meaning of this particular Arabic. Say this plainly because it matters more than any reframe. The Prophet's outward struggle in Mecca did not simply disappear the moment this surah was revealed. What these verses describe isn't necessarily the external situation resolving. It may be something else, something in what was being carried through it. If reading Quran this way, slower, sitting inside it instead of skimming past it, is doing something in you, that's the whole reason this channel exists. Subscribe to Heart's Whisper, where each video is not just seen, but felt. 1. Instead of only waiting for hardship to end, ask what it may already be doing. Tonight, is there anything this hardship has opened in you that wasn't open before? For some, the answer is yes. That's not guaranteed for everyone, and it's not a reason to minimize real pain. Hardship can also simply wound and require support, healing, and time without any tidy lesson attached. 2. Some classical readers understood the repeated wording as one hardship accompanied by multiple instances of ease. A reading, again, that isn't unanimous. For us, that can become a reminder not to reduce our hope to one expected outcome. 3. Verse 7 carries an instruction easy to skip. So when you have finished, devote yourself to worship. Strive in devotion. This is an application built on the closing verses, not the only possible rendering, but it points somewhere real. The instruction isn't simply to wait, it's to turn toward God. 4. Sit with the image in verse 1. Did we not expand for you your breast? That expansion is described as already given, not something to force, whether or not you feel it as a literal sensation. The verse frames a widening that, in this reading, has already begun. 5. The surah doesn't ask you to fully explain your hardship before turning to prayer. The instruction is to turn while still carrying it, a reason to seek direction before clarity, not to wait for full understanding first. 6. Read side by side. Ad-Duha and Ash-Sharh form a striking thematic sequence. If you read this surah alone on a hard week, read its companion too. 7. Notice that the closing instruction focuses on an action, turning toward God, rather than prescribing a particular emotional state. You may not feel relief yet. The instruction to turn does not require pretending that you do. Every hard season came with someone telling you it gets better. You're tired of hearing it. This surah isn't only saying that. It may be suggesting something a little different. That ease doesn't only have to be imagined as waiting somewhere outside the hardship. Some opening, some capacity, some mercy may already be emerging while the hardship is still present. That's one way to sit with these verses. A contemplative, Sufi-inspired reading, not the only or definitive tafsir of the surah. You don't have to wait for the hardship to end to look for what may already be shifting inside it. That's not a promise that every hardship resolves the same way. It's an invitation to look closer at your own. Tell me in the comments, what's one thing this season may already be opening in you that you hadn't noticed? If these verses met you in a difficult season, may they give you something worth carrying into tonight.